Hey all and welcome back to Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood. We have passed through the portal, following Ix into the Twilight cage, but something tells me we're not going to get to his base of operations just yet. No, we're going to have to go the long way around. Meet some locals, eat foreign cuisine, and essentially do a lot of busy work and unite the factions, essentially. I kind of like this sort of thing when it comes to RPGs, where you gotta get the local populace on your side for one final assault. If that's a spoiler, don't worry too much. Chronicles isn't really a game with a lot of twists and tricky surprises and whatnot. So, Flame, what can we expect in this part, mate?
Well, in this part, we've just made our way into the second half of the game, really, and basically the structure from here on out is we're going to be going around all the different areas from inside the Twilight cage, and it's very basic in structure. So we're going to be spending a bit of time in the desert area. I can't remember which one's which, but
well, I remember getting here and being walled a little bit, honestly, so make sure you take someone very good at piercing armor. You will thank us later.
Yeah, well, I've got Knuckles and Shadow to handle that, so I'll be fine.
Good stuff, good stuff. I love the Knuckles and Shadow combos. Are you going to be showing any off, team attacks and whatnot?
No, I don't really use the combo moves at all, from what I recall. It's just, it takes a bit more time to set up. I think I use the Sonic and Amy one a bit toward the end, but other than that, I don't really get much use out of them.
Could this really be a true Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood playthrough if you're not 100%ing
it? Well, Tom, would you like to 100% Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood for us?
I would like to 10% Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood for us, but just quickly skipping over that, thank you for recording the playthrough, by the way. You're a good friend, and you are always treated well by me, and never let anyone else say otherwise. This is the homeworld of the Cron. They are the rock aliens. Basically, they're like, Unga Bunga, we like rocks and eating shit, and so on. They're not the most intelligent of races, but they will do in a pinch for helping us to get to Nocturne.
Okay, so now we've got the racism out of the way.
Hey! Name me one race on Earth that is made of rock and says Unga Bunga, and I'll show you a race that doesn't exist.
Well, no, I'm accusing you of being racist towards these rock monster people, but okay.
Oh, that's fine, I am racist against rocks. Fuck pearls and fuck diamonds.
Okay, someone's still salty about stuff, but yeah. While we've been bickering, I've completely lost track of what our characters are talking about on screen here, so I hope you've been paying attention, Rich, and can fill us in.
Well, the most I can fill you in is this is the quest for the Chaos Emerald, so we're going to go hunting for Chaos Emeralds. That's basically, I think, the long and the short of what's going to occur here. And, oh boy, these rock monsters, the Cron, they're a nightmare, aren't they?
I love that walk cycle when they're sort of plodding their way towards you, and they've got so few frames of animation. It is like a literal, clunky trek across the map there.
Mm-hmm. Alright, what's the strategy for beating these guys, Flame? Pierce their armor, then take them down?
Pretty much, yeah. They are very defensive, and if you don't properly pierce them, then you're going to be getting a lot of one-hit points like we're seeing there.
Not much difference between a Cron and you, honestly, then, Flame.
Well, I mean, you could probably beat me up in a fight pretty easy. I am skinny and lanky and awkward, so, I don't really see the comparison.
You wouldn't even turn up to the fight. Oh my god, that was amazing. You made my first run of that look like child's play.
Yeah, so basically, Shadow's attack there, the Chaos Rift, that has a percentage which gradually increases as you level up the attack, but it has a percentage chance of just doing a straight one-hit knockout on whatever enemy you use it on, and I got lucky there. Okay. I won't be overly reliant on that, because sometimes I don't really like to gamble it, but sometimes if I've got a move free, I will just give it a shot, just in case I get lucky.
Fair dude.
Oh yeah.
So, this mission here, basically Ruby's going to ask us to collect some shit. This is the one I'm not going to bother with, because it's a bit of a grind, and it's really not worth it. As far as I recall, you just get a few items for doing it, so I just thought, no, fuck that noise.
Oh, so you tease us with it, and then you take the treat away, so to speak.
The treat. You realise the treat would be sitting through about 10 more fights than we have to otherwise.
Oof. Oof. Is this the same place as, like, those bluish, green, black rock monsters? I forget if they're a different race or no.
I think the ones you're thinking of are the ones from a couple of worlds' time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are more armoured, and they've got, like, the blue sort of features on them.
Yeah, yeah.
They're a pretty cool design, but no, we've got a little way to go before that. We've got all the rock monsters and a few other kinds of enemies we'll meet up with throughout here, this world.
Are you not going to use Shade at all then? Is she just benched for now?
For the time being, yeah. I will get some use out of her later on, like particularly when we get to Nocturne, if I recall correctly. But
Okay.
yeah, for this section, I am just using the big hitters because, you know, we've got giant rock monsters that are really defensive, so I'm not taking any chances with them.
Well, you weren't wrong about them being defensive. They actually called us Nocturnus. Like, yeah, you're like 1/4 or 6th or 7th of the way right. But us, no, we're not personally affiliated with the Nocturnus, but they don't care. Cron love to fight.
Well, exactly. They're slightly crazy. Also, one of the things that I've noticed, it's more going to be helpful once we get into sort of the next chapter, but there seems to be a lot of Greek stuff, I think, that goes on in Twilight Cage, because two of the areas are named after Greek things. So I was thinking Cron, what's that related to? I'm erring towards potentially Cronus.
Yeah.
Who is obviously the leader of the first generation of Titans and also the father of Zeus. But whether that is a thing or not, I don't know. But just a thought, I suppose.
Ah, yes, Kronos, the originator of the vor fetish.
Would you like to explain more about that, Tom?
No, read a fucking book.
Okay, if you insist. I got nothing while we're just fighting more of these guys. That is just one of the things that happens with these kind of RPGs. So when it's like we've beat the party of one of these, now we've got to beat a party of two of them. And yeah, it is adding to the power level, but when you're just observing it and trying to find something interesting to talk about for it, yeah, it's a little bit easier said than done.
Let's talk about their design then. I do kind of like these guys. Like, they have the rock belly. I don't know if that's actually got any organs in. It would be a bit like me firing my stomach at people and it coming back and me being perfectly fine. But I guess rock creatures are a bit more durable than organics.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they've got much biology going on there at all. They are just like, yep, I can just smack this little girl on the head with this giant rock I keep on my stomach. That works fine.
What about you, Rich? How do you feel about the Cron boat?
I think they're an interesting design. It was one of the bits that was sort of relatively interesting when I got to this point of the game, because it was like, oh, like we're going completely brand new things. We're not robots, we're proper aliens. And then my brain did think, oh wait a minute, didn't Sonic X at one point go spacey? And I was just thinking, they sort of kind of slightly ripped this from Sonic X. That's not the best thing to do in the world.
That was Season 3. What were that faction called? It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember.
They like the Meta-X or something
Yes,
like that.
the Meta-X saga. Like, the fuckiest thing, they still wanted Chris in the series, but he had, grown up, because obviously time passes differently between worlds, because of course it does. So he was a literal man-child. He was a man in a child's body, which is really weird, but, you know, if it makes Chris not be whiny and annoying, and thus not forcing myself to see myself in a children's program, it's all for the best, really, I think. I was able to enjoy it more. And of course you had the OC Cosmo, who were, you know, Cosmo and Tails OPP until she got fucking blown up.
Yeah, I will say I never actually watched any of the later stuff Sonic X. I sort of tapped out after the adventure readaptations are wrapped up, but from everything I've seen about it, it doesn't feel like I missed much.
Yeah, I suppose so. I only watched bits and pieces of what I could find online, so if anyone's actually watched all of Season 3, let us know. Did it end on a cliffhanger? Because it sure as shit didn't get a 4th season.
I don't, from what I remember, I don't think it did, because I think I do remember actually seeing that last episode, and basically it was Chris being a whiny twit of not wanting Sonic to go back to his world, I think that was the end of that series, and yeah, it was a bit like, for God's sake, just like get over it, mate. It was super ridiculous.
Wasn't that the end of the first season?
That might have been. Honestly, I don't know. All of my memories of Sonic X pretty much just blur together.
What did I literally just say about Chris not being whining in season 3, mate?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, is that I think that he sort of ended up going back on his character arc, and it was ridiculous.
Let us know in the comments. Jesus fuck, will these things die already?
Now we've got to let you two bitch about fucking Sonic X of all things first. It's
Alright,
far more
alright.
amusing.
Other things in the Sonic lore, I guess, or I guess news would be better. Lore is something pertaining to the games themselves. There was a Christmas special of Sonic Mania Adventures, which was very cute. It actually starred Amy and Metal Sonic. That was pretty nice. There's been a few new tracks released for Sonic Team Racing. It's basically just you can do anything again, and I think they're afraid to put like the Sonic Boom or whatever lyrics in there because they cost money.
Well, I think, to my recollection, the You Can Do Anything lyrics, the ownership rights of them stand by a different firm to the instrumental for some reason. So it's probably just a copyright issue in general, because I know whenever they've reused it, they've just gave us instrumentals, even to the point of the Sonic CD remake, that when you put the Japanese audio on, it just plays the instrumental if You Can Do Anything, which is a little bit disappointing, not gonna lie, because I do like that song.
Fair dues, mate, fair dues. Alright, so X is basically manipulating all the races within this place, which kind of takes me back to King's Quest VI, if I remember the Steam Train LP. Like, the villain of the game basically stole precious items from each clan and said they did it or they did it and got them to fight each other. Here he's just seemingly taking the more domineering approach, making them build weapons and ships, and wouldn't you know it, a Chaos Emerald is just here powering their weapons factory and whatnot. So let's go speak to Foreman Crag, because if they didn't have stone names, I think I might just have a panic attack.
Yeah, probably. And also, I've just gone and looked at the Sonic X episode list, because I just wanted to, just clear it all up for everybody. So, the Chris being whiny sod and running off the Sonic was the end of Series 2.
Okay, yeah.
You were both wrong, well done.
The actual end of the series was the battle being over, final MOVA or whatever, the group reflecting on what they've just been through, and with the Master Emerald not restoring anytime soon, Chris gives up on returning to Earth, but is then delivered an envelope from Eggman, and it was a single ticket with one-way trip to Earth written on it. That's all that Wikipedia has. I'm sure the Sonic Wiki has more, but honestly, I'm not that interested in the entirety of Sonic X's narrative to go and search that out.
I guess so. I kind of like the idea of Chris never returning home, honestly, in a kind of quantum leap sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't much use on Earth, and it'll be equally as useless just floating in space somewhere, but...
Thank you for cutting these out, by the way. I couldn't stand to sit through one more.
Oh god, no.
Oh, there will be more of them, just I'm trying to space them out a little bit.
Yeah.
The Nocturnus are actually here, bopping around and whatnot. Alright, Richard, what does Princeps mean, mate? You mentioned
Give me a
this
second.
a part or two ago, I believe. We're going up the Nocturnus hierarchy here.
Yes, so Princeps is basically a Latin word meaning first in time or order, the first or foremost. So basically, it was a leading member of the Senate. So Princeps Senatus example. Let me try and get also the other type, which is the Principes. Which is, I think, more what they're going with here, and they were spearmen and later swordsmen in the armies of the early Roman Republic. They were men in the prime of their lives who were fairly wealthy and could afford decent equipment. They were pretty much the heavier infantry of the Legion who carried large shields and wore good quality armour. So, yes, that's basically what you're getting out of that one.
Meanwhile, I've still got to smack more of these guys with hammers. Is the hammer anything to do with the ancient Roman law or anything?
I don't think so. You're not going to look up, history of the whole Roman Empire and see a picture of Amy Rose or some shit.
Yeah, no, I don't think that one is quite going to happen.
I'm not visiting that fucking website. Stop hyperlinking it.
What are you hyperlinking, Flame?
I'm not. Tom's trying to be funny, Rich. You need to click onto this.
You need to actually look at the screen while we're recording, Rich. I know you're our lore guy,
Oh, yes.
our historian, but BioWare keeps telling us to visit their Sonic Chronicles website. I'm not doing it! Why do I get angry about these things? They have no control over my life.
Same reason you get angry over people being mean about cartoon shows.
No, you realise that's just like an easy blow, right? You're putting no effort into it whatsoever.
Well, you see, the thing is, I don't have to put effort in.
And you never will, Flame, and you never will.
I can put effort into being a petty little bitch when I want to. It's just right now I can't be asked.
Fair dues, mate, fair dues. Halt!
Yes. Now, we'll say these people do have a specific way of talking that really fucks with my brain when I try to read it, because I sort of read it normally first and then look back at it and like, oh yeah, they're doing that words out of order thing. Mm-hmm. And it does fuck with me a little bit, but you do get used to it over time. I suppose it is interesting that they've got the different manners of speaking for the different alien races that you get here.
There's one race in the game, actually, that is very similar to one that you can find in Mass Effect. I'll point it out when we get to it. It's not one of these guys. I can't even think of, like, an analogous race to something in, like, Mass Effect from any of the Cron here.
Oh, no.
Well, I've never played Mass Effect properly, so I have no frame reference for that, so that's all you.
Yeah, although I love how I went, oh no, as if I knew alien races in Mass Effect. I don't really. I know, like, two, not that I'd be able to properly name them, like, is it Talia and Garrus, I think, are two of them? Not the races, but the characters.
Garrus is definitely on the money. He's the broest of the bros in games or movies or television or anything, really. Also, why does this guy have products we can easily find on Earth?
Well, maybe there's just a good export market.
I guess so, but like it costs a lot of energy to open the Twilight cage in the first place, so I guess there's just Master Emerald copies bobbing about.
Maybe like they just got their own industry replacing stuff, like maybe the tourist market, I don't fucking know.
So I guess the Cron were like the tip top of the Predator chain until X came along and he was like, my dick is bigger, you will serve me.
Seems to be like they are the ones with the warrior build and that, so it would make sense. And like you can kind of see straight away that X is just like taking advantage of all the different races just for what their natural purpose will be. Like we got these big guys being the fighters and shit, so yeah. You know, it makes sense, and you can kind of piece together how the rest of the game's plot is going to go just from this alone, you know.
Yeah, befriend them, get Chaos Emeralds, group up, go fight X. It's your basic RPG progression.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where I do wish that the second half was a little bit less repetitive, because it basically is just this, just in different looking areas, but with equally tedious enemies, because I'm pretty sure from what I remember anyway, but once again, terrible memory with these things, a lot of them are bulky blighters.
Yes. And
so a lot of them just are really tedious to battle.
Here's a question for you guys. What's the eye on this thing? Is it the one with the line leading up, or is it the big space below?
I don't know. Like, it might be that little line under the rock on its head. I can't. Like,
yeah.
Maybe it's the sort of rock and roller kind of thing where it doesn't explicitly see. It just has like an ear somewhere and uses sound waves. I don't know.
A very distressing Pokemon is Rock and Roller. Is it a pencil sharpener or is it a Pokemon? I went with the clean version of what I've seen people say.
Oh, dirty blighters.
I do kind of like the Rock and Roller line, although they are basically just filling in the slot for Geodude, really, aren't they?
I mean, yeah.
That's what they do every generation. You have your bird line, you have a pseudo-legendary. I guess they could change it up, but why? It's a format that works.
Well, it was more obvious in Gen 5 because they didn't use any Pokemon in the main story from previous generations, so everything needed a standing rather than just like the regional bird and the safe picks.
Yeah.
I think I was just sort of switching around my amulet things because I didn't buy enough for every character that I'm gonna use on the team, so I just need to remember to switch them around before I get twatted and die in battle, which I think happens a few times here and there, but we'll see.
I need you to let us into the factory. We need a shiny rock. No, not you. Another shiny rock. You're very handsome. Give him the thumbs down.
I'm not being mean to the shiny rock.
Okay, I think we can confirm that like that little mouth thing is the eye, because this guy doesn't have a line going up.
Possibly, yeah.
Oh look, it's another red, yellow, blue puzzle. I love these.
I know, they must be just so confusing, it's incredible. But yeah, I have to say, I think sort of, yeah, that sort of little gem thing is the closest we've got to sort of an eye. But I would say it's probably more linked to, like one of those sort of psychic sensor type things. So it's sort of both the eye and the mouth and the everything.
It makes them seem slightly robotic, which again leads you to believe that they're not organic at all. I had a statement, it went nowhere. We're talking about mouths and eyes way too much here. I guess you have to do this in a certain order, Flame?
Yes, this is very much a trial and error puzzle. What you'll need to do is each one of those little icons, there'll be one of each of them, so all three will be different, and it's just a game of trial and error to see which order it wants it to be in, and I believe this is different each time as well, so you can't just memorise it and go from there. And that's why I'm having to do the trial and error approach here, even though I've done a practice run.
Yeah, that's a bit irritating.
Not even a puzzle at this point, is it? It is literally just trial and error. But
oh wow, we got another 40 seconds of this. This is commentary bliss is what this is.
It could have been another fight with the rock guys.
True, but I'm suspecting we're probably going to have another one of them at some point over the next part.
Well, you got the blue down pat, Flame, now you just need the yellow.
Yeah, just swap those two around and I'll be fine.
Alright, let's see if this one's right. Yellow's good. Red's good, and puzzle over!
I made it, lads, I made it.
Bless up, fam, bless up. Alright guys, please join us next time when the quest for the Chaos Emeralds continues in Sonic Chronicles. Bye bye.